Alrighty, what's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day, and with that being said, let's dive into the TA. Alright guys, big day tomorrow. We have our rate decision, which is probably just going to be that rate cut we've been talking about. We knew this was coming since last week. We've been talking about it, and ideally the market was going to sell into that event, and then we're going to be rallying. I'm not going to make this a long video. I am just going to kind of go over my thesis on why tomorrow we are extremely likely going to be bouncing off of this event. I think, a lot of things that are, they're in the crapper right now. I think they're going to be coming back to life. The first thing I am going to start off with is over here. My buddy over here decided to post this. Okay, so this is the McClone oscillator right here. Guess what? It is now, besides over here back in April, this is the most oversold it's been in the last year. Guys, that typically marks bottoms. When this thing gets really oversold, it marks bottom. So that is the first one. That's the first thing here I want to talk about. Why it's consolidating this bull pennant here. We'll talk about the levels after I go over my thesis. All right, but I want to, get that out in the front of the video here. Okay, next thing we have to talk about is IWM. IWM here, you turn on extended hours, and you have a 4-hour bullish divergence, guys. We've seen this all before. We've all seen it. You got the same thing going on over here. All right. We didn't have it over there. You just got oversold. We had the same thing over here. Okay. And you want to see one more occurrence right there. Okay. And guess what? All of these times I have said the same exact thing, and I am not going to not say the same exact thing right here. I think it's bounce time. I think small caps over here are about to rally. You're right here on the 0.786 fib. You're right above it. You're holding 230.82 support. But the important thing is that we have a catalyst that is going to affect small caps tomorrow. And I do not think they're pricing this in. I think they're doing the exact opposite. All right. It is not a sell the news event. You are literally selling down into the event, which means it cannot be a sell the news event. That is not how that works. If you rally into the event and then it turns out being bullish for it and then they sell it, that is how a sell the news event works. This right here is nothing but bullish in my personal opinion. Small caps, I think, are about a rally. We've been talking about, if it sells into this event, these things are probably going to start taking flight. I think it is time for them to start taking flight. So that's second thing right there, making me think we are not going to be selling off of tomorrow's news. Come over here to DIA. You turn on regular trading hours, RTH over here on the 4-hour time frame. The RSI has now gotten down to a point where even during the bear market, you started bouncing back from. Okay, and we can see price over here. All these occurrences, this is where you started bouncing back from. Okay, maybe you go a little bit lower, but again, that was in the bear market. You want to talk about the bull market where you made nothing but newer highs. Guess what? Bounce, 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 bounce. And what are we going to do right now? We're probably going to bounce. Okay. Every time over the last 2+ years, you've been down here. We're really talking, the last like 4 years or so since that 2022 bear market, and before it. Okay. We're going to say 3 to 4 years. You have been bouncing. You got to go back to the COVID 2020 crash to not get bounces from this spot on the 4-hour RSI with regular trading hours on. Okay. We are extremely likely going to be bouncing off of that. I just showed you, the McClone oscillator over there. That thing is the lowest it's been. That literally, all right, marks your oversold conditions, your bottoms. That is when we're down this low, we get bottoms. How is SPY looking? SPY is consolidating in a bullish pennant above the previous high. Anybody who is bearish on these things, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm serious. You're not reading the chart right. You're just not. It's in a weekly uptrend. You have no reason to treat dips as, oh, we're going to fall off a cliff. You just don't have a reason to do so. You have no reason to say, oh, this thing is massively oversold already. I think it's going to die off of something that's very likely going to be giving it a pop tomorrow. It makes absolutely no sense. DIA. You want to tell me this thing's going to start falling further? Just look back at history and I can show you why you're extremely likely not going to get what you want. You're extremely likely about to get a big old bounce. I think DIA is probably going to be heading back up from here, and it's going to have a very quick 2 to 4% move. All right. I don't suggest trading DIA because it's a little troll and it doesn't like to go with, the Nasdaq and SPY, which is, S&P 500, where we go over, 5 days a week on this channel. So, I personally don't trade it. I don't suggest anybody else trade it, but it's definitely a puzzle piece. All right. Inside of our thesis here. And then what else we have? We got the big boy Nvidia over here, guys. We talked about this exact opportunity about a week ago. We have now gotten that exact opportunity. And you have now came down into the golden pocket off the break and retest level. You had 2 break and retest levels. Over here it was holding at first, okay? It was either going to find bars off of 131.26 or 127.67. Turns out it's going to be 127.67. Come down to the 4-hour time frame. 4-hour RSI is already oversold. Again, guys, you can go a little bit lower, but anybody who's in for planning on this thing to start actually crashing or really just fall off a cliff, I think you're not, you're not reading the chart correctly. I'm going to be completely honest. People, I saw someone saying the top is in because you broke under here. I understand. You have this lower high, followed by the lower low. That's the daily time frame. Look at the weekly time frame. Look at the weekly time frame. This was the last swing low. I follow the weekly time frame for my swing trades, and then you pair that with what you see on the daily time frame. This is the weekly 21 EMA. This is the golden pocket test. This is the break and retest. This is now the daily RSI getting down to the same exact spot that it has bounced back from every time over the last 2 years since it has been in an uptrend on that weekly chart, all the way back over here. You notice how right here it was a lower high from over there. Well, we come over to the weekly chart. All right. Lower high, lower high. Now, was it getting ready for a reversal? Yes. But ever since then, guys, all of these opportunities, these oversold opportunities here, they have been buying opportunities. Okay. All these oversold conditions, I should say, have turned into buying opportunities. For anyone to sit there thinking different, I think you are, blindly just hoping and gambling on something to fall further. Most people are probably, they don't have the cojones enough to even short the thing down here. You just have a lot of people, saying, oh, it's coming down to 120. Can it come down to 120? Yeah, it can. Is it likely? No, it's not likely. I am showing you exactly why it's not likely. I give actionable information on this channel. I hope you guys are making a killing. And I'm just saying, Nvidia is my next big payday. I think maybe it could be yours. No financial advice will be given on this channel, but I think this is the most obvious play in the book. We prepared for it ahead of time. I just showed you IWM. I showed you DIA. I showed you the McClellan oscillator. And then you have the thing that, the McClellan oscillator is going off of, consolidating a bullish pennant above a previous all-time high when the weekly chart is clearly in an uptrend. Why are people bearish in the market? I have absolutely no idea. I don't know. You don't like money. You don't like making money. I don't understand. And if you continuously are going to be just losing, eventually you will get it through the thick skull, guys. I've had a thick skull in the past, but I promise, all right, just look back at my work. I've been doing these for years now on this channel. I've definitely proven that I'm looking at these charts in the right manner. We've been killing it for months and months and months and months and years. Okay, years. Talking 2+ years here. Okay, go back and look at my work. I promise, if you are sitting there thinking that every time it gets a little freaking pullback when it's a major uptrend, that it's time to fall off a cliff, you're going to have such a bad time. It's going to be ridiculous. Why do you not want to make money? All right, it's a clear as day money making opportunity. That's what we got right before our eyes on the long side. Okay, can it be different? Yes. Is it extremely likely that it's not going to be different? Also, yes. We're probably going to be catching a bit tomorrow. Now let's get on with what we normally cover. We're going to go over some levels here in the indices. We're going to go over the big boys, the Mag 7 stocks. We're going to go over the semiconductors. But I want to get that part out of the way just so everyone knew. Okay, everyone knew what the thesis was going into tomorrow ahead of time. if you didn't already know, which you probably already know if you know, a daily viewer here, you probably already knew because we've been talking about this exact thing. Let's sell off into it. Let's get some perfect dip buy opportunities here and let's run it up. Okay. Let's do it. SPY still in the bull pennant. Resistance going to be 604.32 and then 605.21. Above 605.21, you have a straight shot up to 607.16. Above there, 609.07 is likely incoming. I still think it makes no sense to come this close up to highs and then not take out the highs. If you know, if you're watching my channel, you know about my system. Okay. I just show everybody the system all the freaking time. Okay. And if you're getting past the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement right here, you're likely going to have the 100% retracement. Doesn't have to happen right then and there, but I look at it this way. You showed your hands. Okay, you're playing cards. Well, the person just kind of put their cards out for everybody to freaking see him, and he didn't know it. Okay, and I see it. I saw it. And I'm telling you guys, that is what is very likely going to be the case because they've already showed their hands. Typically, when we are going to just sell off and you're going to get, a double top or a nice lower high there, you're typically going to be getting, like, look, like over here, this is a perfect example. It doesn't have to happen right away, but it makes no sense for you to come that close to a new high there. Okay. You got past the 0.786 fib clear as day, and then you didn't make it. We knew to be very bullish on this dip. We knew to buy it, and maybe it looks scary at times, but guys, it will hold your hand throughout the process. We're here 5 days a week. We have a weekly update coming out every Saturday that goes over the following week's price action. And on this week, guys, all right, on this week, I'm just saying, guys, we knew not to be bearish. We knew not to be bearish. We had the first green week over here on VIX, so we were open to this thing while it's spiking. But if you remember what we mentioned in the weekly update, we said that most of these, after getting a bunch of red bars over here, if you get the first green bar and you spike, it's probably going to be sold and you just put in like a wick or something like that, okay? I can very much so see that happening right here. What I was looking for today is maybe we come up and test the weekly 21 over here. You get rejection, and then boom, it flushes down into the end of the week. And then maybe it doesn't close out with that green bar. I know this thing looks very bullish over here. We talked about it. We said caution into today, consolidation or a pullback on the indices, because you closed out with a hammer candlestick yesterday, all right? Now I'm going to tell you, I don't think this thing's going much higher. All right, I'll just put myself on the line there. I don't think it's going much higher here. Okay, that is that. But coming on back over to SPY. There we go. Okay, on the downside, what is your support, guys? 602.81, break 602.13. We're probably going to test 617, but you're going to have the daily 21 sitting over here. That's exactly what supported price on this break and retest. We're going to have the same exact setup is over here. Why? Break of structure, came back to retest that structure. Break of structure, came back to retest that structure. Daily 21 EMA test, daily 21 EMA test. It is the same exact setup right over here that a lot of people want to get bearish on. This is what I'm saying. The people who do it, they're either noobs and they don't know better, or they are just, I don't even like saying perma bear anymore, but I'm telling you, you don't like making money. And for some reason, you just want the market to die. Maybe you've lost a lot of money on the downside and you're like, I have to make all the money back in the same exact way I lost it. Guys, I'm telling you for a fact, that's not going to work. I'm telling you from experience, that is not going to work. If you lose a bunch of money, you're going to have that bias and you're going to definitely be inclined to make it back on the same exact ticker. I've gone through it, but I'll tell you, I give you so many money-making opportunities in these videos on a weekly basis. You do not have to do that. You don't have to fall into that trap. You lost a bunch of money on Meta. You don't have to make it back on Meta and double and triple down on that position. You don't have to do it like that, guys. Okay? If something's dying, if Google's dying, all right, it was kind of, a lagger. We had plenty of things in this time that were going straight up. This thing was going to keep pissing you off if you just kept trying to trade it. I told you when the thing was ready. I definitely told you exactly when the thing was ready because we covered the Mag 7 stocks in every video. It was right here on this day. You are going to know clear as day when things are ready. All right. And I'm just telling you, you don't have to, lose money somewhere over here and then get pissed off. And maybe you double down over here and then you lose some more money over here and you sell for a loss. And then it finally rips on you, you get all pissed off. You don't have to go through that process. I will point out when things are ready to go. Right here, we had a clear as day big setup as well. All right, I told you about this thing. We got the retest into these moving averages over here. Back to the scene of the crime. What did we also have? We have the inverse head and shoulders neckline over here. Okay, you came back to retest it. We knew we were probably going to get buyers there, but I did say it was ugly, and I thought there was no reason to really pay attention to it. And then we started trekking up here, and this is when I put it back on your radar, right here. All right, and then we got up to here. And I pounded the table on it these 2 days right here, and I took a position, and I was actually really tight to see that because the position would have went so much freaking higher, and it would have turned into like 40K. And then my Tesla position also would have been, as of today, it would have been like $50,000, 50 to 60K. You guys see that bad boy? Some of these things I see just fly on me. I sell so early on the move, and I'm pissed about it. But it's okay. It is okay. We've had a killer December. We had a killer November. And we're gonna kill it to close out this year. We're probably gonna have 50K month plus. I'm kind of happy about it. So it's gonna be nice, guys. It's gonna be a nice end of the year, and we're gonna have a nice 2025. Okay, but you gotta go with the trend. You want to have a good time. I promise that is the one thing that I have learned. Be the most important out of everything. You go with the trend. You take that weekly trend, you align it with something you see on the daily chart. Okay? Clear as day, inverse head and shoulders right here. You started breaking out. It's going to be so obvious when these things happen. And the obvious setup that I am seeing right now is Nvidia. Microsoft was another obvious setup over here. Okay? You had this inverse head and shoulders. I will point things out when they are extremely obvious to me. Apple was a very obvious setup. When you started doing this, I will pound the table when I start seeing things. Okay? I promise. And right now, the thing to focus on is this bad boy right here. My personal opinion. Okay? Now we're going to go over some QQQ here. Inside day on the day. Resistance is going to be 537.48, 539.15. You rejected off of, you found sellers yesterday right off of our first extension level over there. Take out 539.15 though, you got nothing until 544. On the downside is your support, 534.13, 533.17, then 530.61, which is going to be your most recent breakout level. Spec buyers there, you're going to have the daily 9 meeting you halfway, probably get bought up there if tested, but again, I don't think you're going to test it tomorrow. I just don't. IWM, I already gave my thoughts about this, but I'll give them again. 0.786 fib, you're right above it. This is where buyers are going to hold. If they're going to hold, it's going to be right over here. Bullish divergence on the 4-hour RSI already coming into an event that, literally will help small cap companies, riskier companies. Guaranteed this is a big catalyst for small caps. And if anybody thinks this is a sell the news event, you're literally selling into the news, and the news is going to pop and the stock price is probably going to pop. That is going to be how that probably goes. Get above 235.57. That is when things get interesting. You have a straight shot up to 239.43, 242.39, and then 244.98. As long as you do not take out 226.64, this is a buying opportunity, in my personal opinion. Impulsive move up, controlled move down, buying opportunity. This was your last swing low over here on the weekly time frame. As long as you hold 226.64 and you don't make that new low, I think this is a buying opportunity, and I think it's clear as day. Yeah, I already talked about it. 4-hour RSI, it is already in that spot where you have been bouncing for years. I don't think it is going to be different this time. Now let's talk about the big boys, guys. The Mag 7, the mega caps, Meta, that is Facebook. 617.78 is your support. You're right on the daily 9. You're consolidating here. I think you're getting ready for that big move. I think we're finally about to see that move up to 650. All right, take out 638.40 up here, and you go to 650 really quick. If you take out 617.78 on the downside, though, you come back and finally get this break and retest opportunity over here. And I'll put an alert right there. I already have one down there. but I'll put it right here because a lot of the time Meta doesn't like to give us the perfect break and retest. Just like you got over here. I called it out over here at the bottom, guys. I told you, I'll call things out when they're really obvious to me. You got a bullish divergence in right there. And I know for a fact we called that out before it started Ripperoonian. All right. And it's not always going to be picture perfect. All right. Called it out right over here. Well, did that and then took out the low. And, you know, people were probably pissed at me. And then thing rallied its ass off. Pardon my French. And that is how that goes, guys. That is how that goes. It's never going to be picture perfect. Sometimes it is picture perfect. Like, again, I will pound the table on this bad boy. Nvidia, we talked about it. It's here. It is here. 1 to 3 trading sessions after hitting this spot. Bottom is in. You start getting your 10% plus rally. That is what we are looking for. No different this time, okay? Come over here to Goog, guys. All right. Bunch of the Mag 7 stocks, they are looking kind of, you know, mixed here. If this pulls back and just consolidates around the highs, I think this is probably going to end up just being a buying opportunity. All right. So that is what I'm going to be treating it as. But, you know, at the current point in time, it's looking a bit hairy. And I will not be surprised if you start pulling back towards that 193.31 level. There's that. Okay. Microsoft, I think it wants to make these highs. I really do. We knew the weekly setup was there. We knew this was a fresh breakout. We knew it was probably just going to grind higher towards all-time highs. Above 457.26, we have 468.35. Apple, okay? I told you, 255. See these gray lines, guys? This is what, like, you know, I don't want to share my focus list with everyone. But I'll definitely tell you, the gray lines mean these are targets. Okay? And the bottom red line is usually the trigger for said move. It wasn't over here, though. It was right here. It didn't hit that. Regardless, all right? This is a move that you could have very easily wrote out with dated calls because you had 4 months of consolidation. You could have started playing it over here, okay? Started getting on the focus list over here, and then we broke out, and it was on the focus list again somewhere along the line. And then guess what, guys? It is now finally coming up to that third target, and I do think 260 is also going to be incoming. You can even take the, you know, consolidation phase. The most consolidated it was in this pennant, and it was still an 8% move. You are not there yet. It still is going to have them legs. It is still probably going to continue higher. All right, 255 and then 260. This is now about a month of breakout. It's still only 3 weeks of breakout here after 4 months of consolidation. It goes higher. Amazon. This is something, again, like, I don't know why people are getting bearish on it. I really don't. You pull back, you're going to retest 215.90, and it's a big buying opportunity. It's the most recent breakout level. What are people bearish about? It wants to grind higher, just let it be. The thing has, you know, when it's in an uptrend over there in the weekly chart, this thing just grinds higher. You got no reason to look at it any other, you know, any other way there. Tesla, guys, this is another one. I absolutely pounded the living crap out of this. We pounded it over here for the Trump pump. And we got to have some, you know, some pretty nice action over here. Some pretty nice price action. And then I pounded the living crap out of it somewhere over here. I said, we're just going to leave it alone. And then it got out to this day. And we started pounding the crap out of it again. And I hope you guys made a lot of money. I am salty that I sold right into all-time highs over here between 402.67 and 414.50. And then it just kept going. And this is what I'm saying. A lot of these times, see, I always buy time, right? So I can always catch it. It's not like I play these short-dated options where, you know, I see the move happen and, oh, the options I was playing, they're expired anyway, so who cares? No, I look at it and, you know, the contracts I had, they still got a month on them. They still got, you know, 2 months on because they're February and January calls. All right? And I'm pissed. I'm not pissed. I'm salty because it would have been a lot more, but it is fine. All right. 465 target had been hit. Like, I knew it was probably going up there, but, you know, at a certain point, things, you know, are kind of, you know, scary to hold when you're up a good amount of money and the thing's just going vertical. You're like, oh, it's going to pull back. I could just get in. No, sometimes they just don't do it. And I can promise that is exactly how it works a good amount of the time. And it is what it is, all right? You have strong setups to get strong moves. And the strong moves, honestly, it's harder to hold through these things than to not hold through the things. So you just decide not to hold through. You're like, let me take the money. It is what it is. All right. And if anybody ever says to you, money's money, all right? Profit is profit. If anybody says profit is profit, just know, no, you only say profit is profit when you are, or when you're, you know, when you're salty that you didn't let it run, or, you know, nobody ever is happy about saying profit is profit. That is all I'm going to say. All right. So that's a funny little tidbit right there. I promise, over, you know, in my experience throughout the years, I have never said profit is profit and been happy about it. You only say profit is profit when you watch something take off into the heavens without you. All right. 465 target has been reached though. Where did we derive that target, guys? Measured move. And I always am conservative. I take the smaller one. There's $160 right there. You go up $160. It was 165, but you know, technically it would have been a 460 target. Whatever. 465 target has been hit. I think 500 is incoming next. Again, like these things are not, you know, they're not looking like they want to pull back here. I pounded the table on this setup over here. This is the Mag 7, you know, ETF. I was seeing it on Twitter. I was like, oh my God, this thing looks like it's about to explode. I didn't even know it existed. It only has the Mag 7 stocks in it, the 7 stocks. They all were probably going to take flight. They all did end up taking flight. You got Microsoft, you got Amazon, Apple, Google, Meta, and then Tesla, the biggest boy of them all, just leading the charge. Does this look bearish? Do you want to short this thing? You're getting in front of a freight train. Don't do it. Save your money. That's what I was saying earlier. I don't want to be mean, but like some people do not want to make money. And I can clear as they see it. Like it's like the people getting really bearish in Nvidia when it is so obvious to me. It's like, hey, this is where you want to be loading the boat, and then you ride. Okay, and I don't recommend short-dated options. Short-dated options, they can print. You can print pretty quick on this Nvidia play, but I'll tell you right now, when you want to have that peace of mind of just being in January and February calls or maybe March calls, all right, why do you have to stress things? You don't got to do it. Take a large sum of money. Like, let's look at it this way. You're always going to be on the edge of your seat, and you're going to be nervous because you're gambling if you throw a large sum of money in short-dated calls. But then you can have the confidence to throw that large sum of money and stay patient and not have your emotions go haywire on you and make you, you know, make an irrational decision with a large sum of money, as long as you just have time on your calls or you're playing with shares. Give your setups time to play out and you will have your win rate skyrocket. I hate to say it, but I don't got a 100% win rate, but I got to have like a 95% plus win rate. And that's just how it's been. Anybody who's been in the Discord, you've seen it for quite some time now. You know, give it time on your plays. Most of the setups will play out. We're only in these things because they're showing the setups. They got the strength going on, or they're hitting the condition. You know, this reaction happens over the last few years. It's probably going to happen again. Give it time to play out. I promise your win rate's going to skyrocket. Don't set yourself up for failure. You want to have a good time. I want you to have a good time. SMH over here, weekly setup. It looks like it's probably going to start taking flight. Got to break that upper trend line though. You did make the higher high. You're not breaking, retesting off this level over here at 248.19. You're testing the, you know, moving averages again from the upside. Are we going to hold them? You didn't hold them over here. Are we going to hold them this time? Probably, because of how everything is looking. We're going to come over in Nvidia. I already went over the setup. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but just know every time you get down here, you get bought up. You got the golden pocket. You got the break and retest level 127.67. You're probably about to get bought up again. Weekly 21 EMA right there. ARM, okay? Everyone wants to hate on ARM. I want to hate on ARM, okay? Watching this trend line. What if we just watch the original trend line that we were originally watching, which is this one? You have a picture perfect break and retest with the hammer candlestick today. This thing's probably going to get bought up. And this is what I was saying, all right? Maybe you did what I did and you had January and February calls on this move. And you were like, you were up a lot of money up here. And you sold the January calls because you knew you were probably going to start having a retracement somewhere over here because you went straight into the 0.786 fib. Right there. If sellers are going to step in, that's why I talk about my system all the time in this channel. Just use it. If you don't have one, just freaking use it. It's profitable. Just freaking do it. If you're an options trader, I just follow along with what I do in these tickers. I promise the system is a time-tested strategy. You know, it's not, you know, picture perfect every time, but, you know, in reality, you're going to develop that intuition around your system. And I definitely have developed it at this point. You take off the Jan calls, you take off the short-term ones. Did I think you were going to fall off a cliff and get back the whole move, and then you're going to end up at break even down here? Not even freaking close. But now, you can now take the emotions out of it, because you know you have 2 months, and you know you this really just broke out of this, and now you're retesting it with the hammer candlestick. It's probably about to get bought up. If SMH breaks out, this thing probably starts heading back up, and then you can sell. I was up 60%. I'm tight. I didn't sell these Feb calls. I'm going to be honest. I was tight, but the January calls were up, you know, 100%. So I can't be too tight. We got out of those. Okay. So, you know, you're still up, you know, 3-4 grand on the actual position by the time the Feb calls came back to break even. So it's not so bad. All right. But in reality, now I just get to sit and watch. And maybe it comes back up here. And maybe it comes back up here. Maybe we get to sell for 40 to 60% in between these two spots right here. And then we're having a good time. And then maybe if I really want, it takes out this. Takes out this level right here. We're not going to watch this level anymore. We're watching right here, 156.40. Take out 156.40, this thing goes to 164.16. Take out 164.16, you got to move like this starting up, and you really get to, you know, really make some money there. That's what I'm saying. Play with time if you're an options trader. You don't got to set yourself up for failure. AVGO over here, guys. After all these big moves, you have gotten the pullback. Why are you going to chase this thing? That's my opinion. Why are you going to chase it? Don't you dare sit there chasing it when I'm showing you Nvidia is a clear as day opportunity. Don't you dare do it. No financial advice on this channel. But I'm giving you one of these plays.
That was easy.
All right. One of these where you're going to be hitting that button and you want to chase this thing. Don't do it. The premiums are so juiced anyway. You get no reason to. MU over here, you got earnings. I think you're probably going to be following this arrow. I think you're probably heading up to, you know, 121, a 1 to 127.27 off these earnings. You got them literally tomorrow after the bell. We're going to see how this goes. You just got the fresh breakout. I told you, wait for the breakout above 106.40 or for the breakdown under like 96 bucks over here. You got the breakout above 106.40, and I think this move is probably just getting started. We saw how AVGO moved. I know this thing can gap up big off of earnings. I think we're probably going to get one of those moves. We're going to watch it. Okay? TSM. Inverse head and shoulders pattern we talked about in yesterday's video. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. And again, give yourself time to see these things play out. You're going to have a good time. You're in short dated calls here and you see one of these days, now you're down 50%. You're like, oh, Jesus. Maybe you're down 70%. You're like, oh my God. But you don't gotta sit through that pain, my friend. You ain't gotta sit through that pain. All right. Very clear as day set up here. Probably is about to take flight and get above 212.60 and then run to 220. INTC, surprisingly, this thing has been holding on for dear life over here off the 0.786 fib. I still think it's going lower. You rejected the daily 9 over here. Don't touch it. AMD, guys, I don't know if the bottom's in over here. I really don't. You burnt through that divergence we pointed out in yesterday's video off the hammer candlestick or pin bar candlestick right here. You burned right through it today. I think you probably do come down to 121.83. But then again, I always tell you guys, this thing's a troll. Why are you going to trade the troll? I give you plenty of other opportunities. Don't trade the troll. All right. Now, as far as Bitcoin stocks go, guys, all right, no financial advice, but don't touch them. You got no reason to touch them. Why are you going to touch them when they're moving like absolute garbage as Bitcoin is moving up to new highs? The market has just, they're not, the big money is not playing these Bitcoin stocks for the Bitcoin moves anymore. They're not. I pointed out a while ago because we were not seeing action. Okay. It's now, you know, probably about a month after I talked about this. You got no reason to touch these things. TLSK was looking absolutely beautiful, and it, Bitcoin is now up at highs. I originally thought this thing was going to be at new highs above 25 bucks over here. Bitcoin got up to 100K. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. Okay? Like, some of these things, you gotta realize in advance, like, it's not worth it. One of those things I'm telling you right now is not worth it. MSTR, premiums, juiced up the wazoo. If Bitcoin pulls back, what do you think this thing's going to do? It's probably going to come down here, and it's probably going to come all the way down here, and people are going to be like, oh, it died. And then it's probably going to get bought up. You got no risk reward right here. All right? Screw risk reward. This thing is a crap chart. You had a really bullish setup, and it's not moving. You got no reason to play these things, guys. You don't. Don't touch them. Coinbase, if you want to touch anything, Coinbase is getting ready for the big move. This is the one Bitcoin stock that I do think is probably going to be participating here around the corner. I don't know when it's really going to be doing its thing, but I do really like how this thing is setting up. You're basing out above the previous high. Just how I told you guys, MSTR, really bullish setups in here, okay? Like a bunch of consolidation. You finally got a bullish catalyst to go off of. And if it falls flat in its face, don't touch it. The thing that's supposed to ignite the fire did not ignite the fire. Coin, I don't know what's going to ignite the fire, but we could clear as they see. It's definitely setting up here. But you also do have this uptrend. You break that uptrend, you kind of got a head and shoulders pattern going on here. Break uptrend. Come down here. Here is where you buy. Heavy. There you go. I think it's looking good. But I really would like to see it come back and retest over there. You can see on the weekly time frame, guys, this thing is definitely doing it. Like, it's doing a thing. It's getting ready to make its move. All right. But ideally, you come back down here, you sweep it, go something like that, get underneath the weekly 9 right there, and then you shoot up. That is the ideal move. Right here, you got to wait for it to break out. The game plan over here, I'll just share my game plan. Break above 331.70, it's ready to go. If you can't break above 331.70, it's not ready to go. It's stuck in this consolidation, and you don't want any part of it. Yeah, I had that 323.50 level marked out right here. You see how it got above it and it didn't do anything? That's because that's not the trigger level. This is clear as day, the level being respected, 331.70. You come back up to test, it's probably not going to be another false breakout. Probably going to, just be telling you an early warning sign that you're going to take out this high. And once you do take out that's 8% right there. It's going to be like 5% from this level right there, okay? It's 5%, 17 schmeckles. But you take out 349.49, that's when you can get up here. That's when you can get up to 400. That's when you can go to a new all-time high. Until you break above 331.70, guys, stay away. I still say it's not good to focus on these Bitcoin stocks right now. You got no reason to. Upstart, guys, you're consolidating in a bullish manner here. I think you're getting ready. And again, speaking of these small caps and mid caps, the IWM stocks, the Russell 2000 stocks, these things are set up. They're not looking terrible. You come over to you. You is pulling back and it printed a pin bar / hammer candlestick off of the 21 EMA right here on the daily time frame. Again, same thing as IWM. Impulsive freaking move up. Controlled pullback. You probably have another impulsive move right around the corner. This is you. And you got Roblox over here just trekking along. Not looking bad at all. Okay, the riskier stocks, guys, I'm telling you, these things are setting up. And if you get something to ignite the flame, whoo, they could go. All right, I'll put another one on your radar right here. It's not a risky stock over here by any means. It's almost $1 trillion market cap, 739 billion. Okay, get up here. Yeah, you're going to be right underneath that 1 trillion market cap. I think you're probably getting ready for a move up to highs. All right, am I telling you to just go ahead and buy it? No. No financial advice on this channel. Break that trend line. I'm still not going to tell you to just buy it, but I'll tell you at that point, it's probably now going to be starting to move. But just saying, ahead of the time from this trend line break that we know is going to probably start that move, you have the inverse head and shoulders pattern very clearly forming right here. If you come down very quickly, maybe we print a hammer candlestick off this level, 761.28, and then you come up here and you test 807. You get above 807. That's when the move starts. You're going to be breaking that trend line, and then you look for the move up here. to the neckline. That right there is a $37 move. That can pay. All right. But at that point, you're probably going to break through that, and then you really go for a ride. And all of a sudden, you're up here at 907.98. So imagine if you got to play that move. That is the early bird move. This is the not so early bird move, and you're just waiting on confirmation. All right. 12% and 20%. Take your pick. Take your pick. Take your pick. Nike, you got earnings after the bell tomorrow. Still consolidating this bull flag. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen over here. I'm so freaking curious on this one. I don't know how it's going to play out, but considering this thing has been now consolidating in a bullish manner after breaking out from that falling wedge for weeks now, 3 weeks, probably going to be breaking up off earnings. I think we probably got a decent gap up incoming. Don't gamble on earnings, though. But I think it's around the corner. All right, guys. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys had a killer day. I hope you were happy. I'm not going to say I was up on the day, but what I was happy to do is buy some more Nvidia for the move that is very likely about to start, because I think I'm sitting on a gold mine, and I think maybe you're sitting on a gold mine, and I think honestly the market's going to have a really good time tomorrow, and we could have a good time with it. Uber is another one that I think, oh, we called it out in the last video. Look at that, guys. Like, this is what I'm saying. When you see conditions that they've been holding for years, why are you going to go against them? All right? Why are you going to go against them? This thing, except for the 2020 COVID crash, has been bought up at this spot on the RSI. So I said downside was limited in yesterday's video. It's one of the trade ideas I gave you right at the end of the video when I was doing that speed round. Well, now you're printing a bullish engulfing candlestick the day after, guys. Your bottom is probably in over here before a move like that. That's 10%, 67.12. I like Uber over here. Okay. With that being said, I will catch you all in the next one. Everybody have a lovely rest of your night, and peace.